Okay, eto na tayo. Ako'y masaya at sapagkat itong mga guest natin maituturing natin na mga hindi naman siguro pwedeng sabihin mataas na authority, no?
Iniisip ko nga po
Pero
de
may
Campanilla.
kinalaman.
Talagang,
Kasi
yeah.
kahit ko lang naman sila, lalo yung nasa dulo. Yun ang ibig kong sabihin. But let's introduce, of course, Alphonse Chopitea. Ito magandang araw sa iyo, magandang gabi sa iyo, Alphonse.
Good evening po, Bishop.
Welcome to Lighthouse Cafe.
Welcome back, Bishop.
Oh, welcome back, yes. And of course, Rene. Oo, Kuya Rene.
Kuya
yan.
Rene Lopos.
Lopos. Welcome back din sa iyo.
Thank you po, Bishop. Good evening. Good evening,
Good evening
Reza.
po.
And good evening,
Yes.
Alphonse.
Matraffic ba Rene ngayon?
Matindi po, Bishop.
Matindi, ano? Yan ang isang bagay sa live. Kaya wala tayong itatago rito sa ating usapin. Medyo,
Very
kasi
spontaneous.
talagang live na live po tayo ngayon and we can actually deal with issues no as current as they are.
Right.
Okay. Now, yung nagbigay ng assessment. Ano nga ito?
2022.
It's an institution na international na tumitingin sa kung paano ba ang level ng pag-aaral ng mga kabataan. Tell us about that, Alphonse.
Actually, Bishop, yun po yung OECD, yung Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. It's an organization of countries po and one particular na ginagawa po ng project sa would be yung PISA, no, yung International Student Assessment, na actually the countries would have to show their intent na sumali. Pwede naman po actually hindi sumali sa participating countries. But we participated at kaya po nakita po natin yung results yun. And ito po ay in a way to see yung level.
How we fare with
with
international standards.
Correct po. And these are, yung sa PISA po would be 15-year-olds ng mga around grade 9 or grade 10 po yan, no, na ating pong education system at sa buong mundo. So, this is one of their projects, yung PISA. And we just got the results for 2022. Meron din po tayong 2018 results before.
Okay.
Pero how do they select the students? Medyo curious din ako dun kasi malaking factor yun,
Actually, they just have about 1,500 to 2,000 students ang actually yung nag-participate from us, and actually these are have been pre-selected, no. Parang ginagawa po natin sa ibang assessments natin yung ito po ay random sampling in a way, and actually some have karamihan po kasi merong coming from Manila. Tapos meron din po tayong pinasali galing doon sa provinces. Kaya
It's a research and assessment at the same time.
Apo.
Yes. Mas familiar ka doon, Reza, sapagkat nasa research ka. Yes. And random yung bagay na yan. Ito ba'y covered ang private and public schools?
Yes. Actually, pero ang pinaka-ano po nila, ang pinaka-mas marami po tayong pinasama ay public schools. Kaya yun po yung pinakamalaki pong factor doon sa ating rating. Kaya po even yung, meron nga pong comparison doon kung even kahit ba yung mga private school students natin, did they even perform poorly compared doon sa ating mga public school students.
Now, tama naman yun, Rene, na tayo ay nakikipagtalastasan sa international market, international level, para matingnan natin. Hindi naman talaga dapat iwasan yan. I believe that we need to be intentional in being there. Tama naman yung gano'n.
Actually, Bishop, I remember Secretary Liling when she was asked,
Yes.
bakit pinag-take ng PISA? Alam naman niya hindi masyado maganda ang sitwasyon.
Oo.
Sabi niya, I would rather have a very frank assessment of
Correct.
the actual situation ng ating education system.
Tama.
Kesa maglokohan tayo na mataas pero actually hindi maganda.
Yun. You know, I pick up from that standpoint. No? Kasi hindi naman tayo takot sa challenge. Pero we need to face realities. Now, ang tanong dito what contributes to the reality na naririyan tayo? No, hindi naman, pwede ba natin sabihin, Alphonse, na mali yung assessment nila? Mali yung results?
Actually, Pastor, Bishop, hindi po, no? Kasi, number one, we showed our intent, at kagaya nga po na nabanggit ng former Deputy Secretary, talagang we would want to be able to see, no, magkaroon ng
So, in a
level the playing
way,
field.
you would submit na may bigat yun, may katotohanan yan.
Opo. Bishop, kung naalala po ninyo, noong 2018, talagang there was even a question, no, kasi funded din ng OECD ng World Bank eh. So parang nung nilabas yung resulta, nagkaroon ng para around 2020 nagkaroon ng bakit hindi mo na in-endorso. There was an issue before na hindi mo na na-endorse yung results, bakit sinabi ka agad, bakit diniretsa ka agad. So nagkaroon ng kaya mabigat po itong resulta to, lalo na ngayong after 4 years nagkaroon na naman po ng isa pang
ikaw rin what do you think? Well, hindi naman natin kine-question ang resulta. Pero how do you take this?
But Bishop, ako kasi ang tinitingnan ko, yung sinasabi ng isang columnist na former NEDO Secretary General. Yung iba kasing bansa, tinake nila yung exam using their language. Pero sa atin, we insisted on taking the exam using the English language. So sa kanya, factor yun eh. Halimbawa, ako, mas fluent ako na Taglish talaga. So, kapag ako nag-exam, kapag ang gagamitin ko ay lingwahe na hindi ko naman talaga ginagamit sa bahay, pag binasa ko siya, dalawa yun eh. Iintindihin mo yung language at iintindihin mo anong hinihingi sa'yo. So sa akin, yes, I respect the result, Bishop. But hindi naman equal eh.
Okay.
Although, di ba, ang ano po sa Philippines,
Pero maganda yung punto ni Rene. Kasi ako, for example, as a pastor, as a preacher, alam mo, titinan ko yung audience. No? Nahahalata ko naman kung ang audience makukuha, no? Halimbawa yun, nagbibiro ka na, pero nakaganon pa rin sila. Ibig sabihin, ano ba yung
comprehension na.
Di ba? So, medyo tatagalogin ko because you need to relate to them. No, lalo na kapag halimbawa problem solving 'yan. 'Di ba? Baka mali ang ano mo, 'di ba?
Pero 'di ba ang Philippines po kasi is known din na 'di ba English speaking tayo, probably mainly in Manila, more than the other areas as well.
Actually, to support ko yung Rene's point po, no, patungkol dun sa languages, nabanggit din po ni Congressman Romulo na nasa basic education po ng Congress na talagang yun po isa naging problem natin. Actually, ang obstacle po ngayon, nakabatas po kasi yung MTB-MLE, yung Mother Tongue-Based Multilingual Education. Kaya kung sabi nila, kung kukunin nating English, paghahandaan natin. Pero I think, narinig ko lang po, nabasa ko lang po dun sa isang balita rin na baka sa susunod po na PISA, they might actually, dahil papakita po tayo ng intention to join, gagamit tayo ng mother tongue. Na yun po yung magiging if ever.
Let me ask you, alam niyo ba kung halimbawa ang Japan sumali? Kung halimbawa yung mga hindi
Singapore.
naman yung mga ibang ang Singapore English din naman yan eh.
Yeah.
Pero yung hindi nag-i-English sa kanilang mga sariling mga classrooms, ginagamit yung kanilang lingwahe. Sumali ba yung mga batang yon?
Yung list po ng participating countries, Bishop, no, talagang merong first world, merong third world din, of course, developing, kaya diverse din po yung diverse in terms of
But anyways, ang gusto ko maging Rene.
Bishop, actually, I talked to somebody from EDCOM 1 because I was wondering why Indonesia kasi mas marami siyang isla kaysa sa Pilipinas.
Yes.
Mas marami siyang local languages kaysa sa Pilipinas. Pero ang educational system nila, they are doing better than us. So I asked that guy and I asked him why. Sabi niya rin na the answer is simple. One factor is language. Yes, Indonesia has so many languages, but they adapted the Indonesian language for as mode of instruction. Sa atin hindi. Malaking bagay po yun.
Okay.
Ang Singapore is doing very well because they've been under British for so many years until the 1960s. So English talaga yan. Yes, multiracial. Pero talagang under British naman talaga sila eh.
Yeah.
And other countries, they adopted their national language as mode of instruction.
Saka tayo iba na, hindi tayo English, hindi tayo Taglish, hindi SMS language tayo. Pati spelling.
Bishop, kasi yung sa mother tongue kasi, maganda yung layunin na i-introduce yung mother tongue. Ang naging problema po dyan, mother tongue ka nga sa discussion. Mayroon ka bang libro na mga nakasulat sa mother tongue?
Exactly.
Wala. Mayroon ka bang mga video material na nasa mother tongue? Wala. So kulang po ng suporta sa mother tongue.
So,
pangalawa, ay isa pa ho, Bishop.
Yes.
Yung pong ginagamit nating mother tongue, minsan napaka-formal. Yung talagang ginagamit sa bahay, hindi naman ganon.
Yo. Alam mo, tama si Rene dyan sa bagay na yan. Naniniwala ako dyan. Kasi, syempre, how can you deliver something na medyo challenging yung communication? Okay? So, ang resulta ng assessment na ito ay hindi lang sa kabataan, kundi sa ating sistema at kung ano ang dapat nating i-correct o i-adjust. Okay? Meron akong palaging nakakausap, no? Lumalabas palagi ito that a child, if he would be trained, it actually takes a village to train him. No, ibig sabihin hindi lang yung institutional learning like DepEd and everything, kundi bahagi diyan ang buong komunidad, ang pamilya. Hindi ba? What do you think about that, Rene?
Totoo po yun. Actually, that statement reminds me of Lee Kuan Yew. There was a controversial statement of Lee Kuan Yew before when he was discouraging men from marrying spouses who are not educated. He was saying that the level of the quality of children that they will produce is proportional to the level of education of the mother.
Correct.
Because the child will spend more time with the mother than with the father. So the more educated the mother is, ang sinasabi niya, mas malaki ang possibility na mas magiging matalino yung anak. In fact, there's another study, Bishop, that says, although I haven't read this yet, but they claim that 85% daw sa talino ng bata, minana sa nanay.
Wow.
Sabi nila.
Yun lang talaga masasabi ko, wow. Babasahin ko nga yan. Nang makot, joke lang.
Well, makes sense.
Yeah.
Totoo yun. Kaya nga tayo kahit sa ating pananampalataya, maingat tayo sa pagpili ng ating mga spouses. Hindi lang kung sino-sino dyan porke nakukulelat ka na sa biyahe, kahit sino na lang. Di ba, Reza, Mahirap yung ganyan. But anyway, let's go back to our topic. So, may sense na tingnan natin kung ano ang nagko-contribute sa ganyang kalalagyan sa resultang ito, sa assessment. Wag lang sisi dito, sisi doon, at lumalabas para bang pinupuntirya yung ikaw, what do you feel? You are a teacher, Alphonse. You are in this institution. How do you feel?
Bishop, actually, hindi lang, I don't think we need to single out the Department of Education or the government. Of course, magsisimula talaga ang mga changes top-down, but there are also some bottom-up na dapat gawin, and that would include community. Kaya nga po yung dapat po nating tignan dito, it's a whole of the society approach.
Yes.
Lahat. May pamilya, dapat ang barangay tumutulong din, dapat of course, yung mga non-government organizations.
Pati religious.
Yes.
Kaya nga binanggit ko, inuna ko dito rin yung announcement tungkol sa National Baptist Day. Sapagkat itong RA 118972 ay binibigyang pagkilala ang contribution ng Baptists, hindi lang sa area ng evangelism, but sa area ng pagtatayo ng mga educational na mga institusyon. And most of our churches actually talagang meron yan. Yung mga ilan nga lang talaga hindi accredited sa DepEd. But they push through with it.
Yeah.
With the mindset na kinakailangan talaga ng edukasyon, karunungan ng mga kabataan. Hindi ba? So talagang merong, kaya pati ako nasaktan para ba ano ba ginagawa ng mga simbahan natin?
In fairness din naman po, it's a special case din during that time, Bishop, kasi talagang nasa pandemya tayo, So napakalaking factor din po yung mga magulang na nasa tahanan. Kasi during that time din, yung learning nila, they're stuck at home, di ba? Wala nang talagang parents.
So, paano ito? How did the pandemic period contribute to such results?
Actually, there's another study on that, Bishop, produced by PIDS sometime in 2022. Medyo mahaba yung article. But ang sinasabi lang, affected talaga yung pag-aaral ng bata during the pandemic. In fact, maraming tumigil. Yun namang nagtuloy, yung level of learning nila, hindi talaga mapapantayan yung in-person. Kasi hindi naman lahat ng bata may nanay na tumututok na turuan siya. Di ba? Marami wala
So, yung online po na hindi rin lahat may ganung technology.
Baka kasi yung mga nanay, hindi naman kasi medyo edukado na sinasabi mo. Hindi, wag natin balikan yan.
That's also
limited
true.
din yung internet
Actually, Bishop, mas maraming parents, dati kasi, di ba, isa sa magulang lang nagtatrabaho.
Yes.
Yung isa nasa bahay. Sa hirap ng buhay, economically, both are working. At ang masama pa, if both are working abroad.
Yun.
That's another topic. But the absentee parents have so much impact on the level of education of the children.
Oh, tumatango ka, Alphonse.
Kasi Bishop, we also have to understand na we had the longest lockdown in the entire world. At kung titingnan po ninyo, hindi po ito hindi po ito dahil highly optimistic ako, pero galing po sa PISA 2018 na physical po tayo nung ginawa natin yon. We were talagang bottom. Talagang worst po talaga tayo. Pero kinuha natin ng 2022
Nag-improve pa.
na nanggaling tayo sa pandemic. Meron tayong kahit content, sabi nga po ng kausap ko, I cannot share your optimism. Pero okay lang. Okay lang, don't share my optimism. Pero merong improvement. Ibig sabihin, kinaya.
Yeah, we used to be at the bottom, then second to the bottom, then third from
Third
the
na
bottom.
siya.
So,
And mas marami ang bottom dwellers ngayon nakasama natin than
yeah,
before.
exactly.
Ibig sabihin, may naging kapabayaan, no? Meron tayong naging kapabayaan, hindi ng ating institutional learning, kundi ng ating mga tahanan sa edukasyon ng mga bata. No, sabihin na natin nag-lockdown tayo. Pinigil tayo ng gobyerno. Pero anong dapat ang magtaas, no, ng ganyang bagay, kundi ang mga nasa tahanan. But the emptiness of parents in the home, no, talagang mabigat ibawi yan. So, walang nag-alsa sa mga kabataan. Nagpabaya tayo. That does not tell, ito ba, sinasabi ba sa atin to na, ano ba dapat talaga ang kontribusyon ng mga magulang sa edukasyon ng kanilang mga anak? Ipapaubaya lang ba dapat yan sa DepEd o anong institutional learning?
If I recall it correctly, Bishop, the verse in the Bible which says, train up a child in the way they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from
Hindi
it.
sinabi ba yun
That's
sa
not
DepEd?
addressed to DepEd. That's addressed to parents.
Yeah.
So, if I'm correct with that, Bishop,
Yes.
so it's addressed to parents. So, hindi pwedeng isisi ng magulang na palpak ang DepEd.
Ano palagay mo? Tumatango ka, Alphonse.
Opo, kasi yung kagaya po na nabanggit ko, Bishop, yung whole of the society approach. They'll do their part, but we also have to do our part. Hindi pwedeng ibato nyo na lang. Kahit nga po in terms of values, they would say values are caught, not taught. They really have to be seen, no, dun po sa mga models. And in psychology, we call them the more knowledgeable others. At yung more knowledgeable others, ang initially would be parents, no, more than the teachers.
Merong experience ang tatay ko. Now, this might be out of pero kasi ang tatay ko, when he was younger, ay Sunday school teacher siya rin. Kaya alam niyo naman yung Sunday school sa mga churches natin, tumatagal lang yan at the most 1 hour, 45 minutes. Itong American pastor, syempre yon, kakalat-kalat yung kanyang binatilyong anak. Hindi mapatigil ng tatay ko na teacher doon sa kanyang klase, kaya ikot ng ikot. Inabot nung American pastor yung anak niya, kakalat-kalat, binitbit. Ang pinagalitan yung tatay ko, Ben, sabing ganyan, why do you not hold my son in your class? He ought to be here. Dahan-dahan sinagot ng tatay ko, well, sir, your son is only in my class 45 minutes every Sunday. He is in your home the whole time. 7 days a week. You ought to remind him and teach him that he should stay in my class. Ano palagay mo doon?
Tama.
Tama po.
Oh.
Tama po yun.
Ayun, so yung kalagitnaan ng pandemic, hindi dapat sisihin na na-lockdown tayo. Dapat itinaas yung mga dapat na ginagawa ng mga magulang. No?
Actually, Bishop, ang daming variables.
Yes.
Kasi actually, way back 1920s, there were more than 30 studies na analyzing ano ang problema ng Philippine educational system. At yung resulta ho nun, kahit isa-isahin natin, halos parehas pa rin ang lumalabas na resulta. So, it's very sad. But anyway, one of the variable na lumalabas po, there was a result by the FNRI sometime in 2022 na lumalabas po. 1 out of 3 Filipino age 5 or below are chronically malnourished. Mahalaga po yun, Bishop, kasi 90% po ng ating brain ay developed na by the age of 5. So kung 1 out of 3 is chronically malnourished, yung potential po ng bata, malilimit na yung cognition, yung memory, yung analysis, etc. So, one factor is malnutrition.
Yeah.
At ang malnutrition kapag ang isang bata malnourished at mahina, kahit pagalitan mo, kahit pukpukin mo, wala talaga. Pero minsan nakakatulong, lalo na sa pamilya, motivation.
Just to support that po, pag hindi, sinasabi po, kapag hindi nyo naitama po yung nutrition ng bata dun sa edad na yung below 5, irreversible yung effect. So magiging stunted talaga po yung mga bata. And that would lead to mahina pong cognition at mahirang pick up ng mga lessons po in school. So that's really one of the biggest factors po ng performance.
Sana mayroong nakikinig at nanonood sa ating mga hindi lang mga educators, kundi yung mga nasa government, pati nasa lipunan natin. Siyempre mga magulang. So that we can also have this realization. Alam mo, pinapakinggan naman natin lahat kung ano yung position ng lahat. Pero after getting all those inputs, then we need to sit down and make an assessment ourselves. Saan ba tayo nagkulang?
Ang isang variable pa, Bishop, na I remember a World Bank report, 1998, but still I think valid. Ang sinasabi nila, one of the most contributory factor in the performance of a student are not the facilities, but the teachers. The quality and dedication of teachers is one of the most influential factor in the performance of the students. Anong klaseng guro mayroon tayo? Marami pa namang magagaling din, pero marami rin nawawalan.
Okay.
You can only teach so much. Pag hindi mo rin alam, paano mo ituturo? Kapag yung teacher ay mali ang grammar,
lalo na kung sa classroom po, ang daming students. So,
teacher-student ratio.
Very limited din yung time nila natutukan yung mga
What can you say about that, Alphonse?
Totoo po, kasi kaya po ina-align po, dapat naka-align po. Meron pong pre-service training, yan po yung mga teachers ay nasa college. Meron pong in-service teachers. So, dapat po, meron po ngayong ang ginagawang study in terms of teacher education institutions. Ano ba yung pangangailangan in the field? Kasi we need to train our teachers doon sa pangangailangan. And PRC would also have to change the Professional Regulation Commission kasi I think outdated na rin yung licensure examination for teachers. That also has to be changed.
Sasabihin natin sa PRC yan.
In response to the needs of society. Kasi baka po, produce ng ganitong teachers, hindi nila kaya po maka-adapt, lalo na po sa ngayon may technology na with AI coming in, marami pong dapat i-bridge. May isingit ko lang po, Bishop, yung sinabi po rin yung kaninang assessment. I and Kuya Rene would know about this, yung ginagawa po ngayong EDCOM 2, yung second Congressional Commission on Education led by Senators Angara, Gatchalian, I think Villanueva also, and some of the representatives. Ngayon po, they tap people, experts in different fields. They have standing committees. At ngayon po ay tinitingnan natin, check po natin their responsibility is to have a comprehensive review of the entire education system in the next 3 years and come up with recommendations that will better the system that we have right now. So, ako po napag-usapan nga po namin kanina before, hopeful po kami doon sa magiging resulta at paano i-implement yung results. For example po, yung EDCOM 1 resulted to, nalala po ninyo dating DEX lang siya. After po nung EDCOM 1, naging Department of Education, then you had CHED, then you had TESDA. Nag-focalize yung education system just for an agency to be able to focus on one problem.
I appreciate all the things you say, but I have one more thing to ask you, if you will please allow me. Kasi you mentioned na inaayos ito ng ating mga ilang nasa political but how does politics in our country affect yung nagiging upbringing ng mga bata sa kanilang edukasyon? Lalo na yung papalit-palit ng mga administrasyon at walang continuity ng mga programa. Okay? Sinong unang gusto sumagot sa inyo niyan?
Yung nakangiti na po.
Yung nakangiti.
Actually, Bishop, hindi lang po sa edukasyon eh.
Okay.
Sa general direction ng isang bansa. Every 6 years, no matter how good, no matter how excellent, the preparation of the previous administration, most likely papalitan yan. Ganun din siyempre sa DepEd. No matter how competent the previous secretary, there's a new secretary. He or she would want to make his or her mark. And iba din yung priority. So doon pa lang, ang laki na ng pagbabago eh. Na parang walang consistency. Actually, ang tinuturo po sa amin sa College of Public Administration, yung institutions natin napaka-weak. Sa ibang bansa po kasi, kahit magpalit ka ng leader, napaka-strong ng institutions na tuloy pa rin ang mga naset na platform.
Parang infrastruktura yan. No? Kahit sinong dumating na administration, ituloy mo yung infrastructure. No? At lalo mong i-develop. Anyway, may sasabihin ka, Alphonse?
In support din po sa nabanggitin earlier, kailangan po talaga ng matinding political will for something to be changed. At nakakatuwa po kasi sinusuportahan naman po yung coming from the Aquino administration, then you have the Duterte administration. Wala akong narinig from any of the administration nagsabing, titigil natin yung senior high. Titigil natin yung ganyan. Merong suporta, pero in terms of implementation, doon na po siguro nagkakaroon ng problema. So you would really have to consider na yung suportahan nga po na banggitin yung kung napakaganda ng foundation. Kasi pang lifespan po, Bishop, ng isang curriculum is 6 to 10 years. 6 to 10 years. Yung huli po natin was EBEC, Enhanced Basic Education Curriculum, back in 2013 pa. So, 10 years na. Pero ngayon po, I think the Department of Education nag-recommend na uli sila ng bagong curriculum. Mas konti na yung dapat i-meet na competencies. So, dapat po, whoever will replace yung current team po ngayon ng education team led by our Vice President, dapat makita po yung talagang meron pong yung transition team.
Yes.
Kailangan maganda po yung pag-endorse na ito kasi yung goal natin. So, kahit whoever sits in Malacanang, supportahan natin so that we would have a very good education system. Mahaba-haba pa po pero may mga gandang simulain na po ngayon.
Well, that's good to hear. Halimbawa, nung araw, ang ating values formation na mga curriculum, naka-integrate lang. Sinasabi naka-integrate. Pero wala talagang laman. Pero ngayon, binabalik na and focus doon sa mga yan. Tama ba yung sinasabi ko?
Meron po ngayon, kahit po yung JMRC na batas po siya.
Yes.
Kailangan hindi po siya maaalis doon sa curriculum po mismo ng mga estudyante.
Oh, that's good. Oo.
May dagdag lang po ako, Bishop. Well, may isa pa ho kasi sa performance ng bata. Sa public school po kasi, lalo na po dito sa NCR kasi dito masiksikan na, ang daming estudyante. Supposedly po, kung may isang bata o may ilang bata sa isang klase na nahuhuli, dapat magkakandak ng remedial classes ang teacher. Ang problema po dyan, Bishop, is, una, sa dami ng estudyante niya, magre-remedial pa siya. May oras pa ba siya? Pangalawa, kapag may bata na hindi niya pinromote to the next level, kasi talagang hindi pumasa, may negative effect po yun sa performance ng teacher. So, ang tendency ni teacher, ipopromote na lang sa next level. Bahala na si next teacher. So, yan po ay incremental ang epekto niya. Kaya po, ang iba hong LGU, katulad sa Taguig, naglagay po talaga kami ng tutors na a-assist doon sa mga teachers kasi hindi na nila kaya mag-remedial classes.
Doon pwedeng pumasok talaga ang societal approach.
Opo.
Sabi, maganda. Okay. Lalo sa inyo sa Taguig, marami kayong mga talagang tinutulungan ng mga kabataan. Okay. I admire your city, in pushing this. Alphonse, you were saying something?
Actually, isa nga po dun sa members ng EDCOM ay si Mayor Cayetano po mismo kasi nakita po nila how I think I'd like to believe how Taguig is doing and performing yung kanila po mga policies in education, napakaganda.
Well, so actually, alam ko na ang Taguig ay may approach din na yung mga anak na mga OFWs ay bigyan din ng pagtuon. Hindi ba? Kasi iba ang kanilang kalalagyan. Siyempre, iiwan yung ng mga magulang sa kapitbahay o sa, kung sino na lang. Anong ituturo ng mga iyon?
Actually po, Bishop, pinag-uusapan nga namin yan. Kasi ang laki ng epekto eh.
Yes.
Financially, they may be okay. Pero yung epekto ho sa paglaki ng bata, yung values ng bata, iba eh. So, pero hindi mo naman pwedeng sisihin yung pamilya, di ba?
Yes.
Kailangan pumasok ang local government in whatever way it can to support the family.
O local government naman ngayon. Hindi national government at ahensya ng gobyerno at departamento. Local government.
At isa po, Bishop, na nakikita namin na napaka-critical, yung intervention ng local government sa early child care development.
Yes.
Kasi dito po yung formative years, which is very biblical actually.
Right. Oo. Well, ang daming pwedeng pag-usapan. Ano? Ibig sabihin, itong assessment na ito ay nag-reveal sa atin ng maraming bagay. No? Para sa akin, alam mo huwag na nating pag-awayan kung sino i-assess natin ang ating mga sarili. Ang ating mga stakeholders, no? Sa pagpapalaki at pagpapaaral at pagdidisiplina ng mga kabataan. Ano, okay ba 'yon? Baka meron kayong medyo maikli yung oras natin, friends. Pwede bang habaan mo yung Lighthouse Cafe?
Mga 2 hours.
Pero bottom line, para ano na lang, Alphonse, ikaw muna. What can you what can we do to better address these things?
Sa akin po, we stop the blame game. Kasi walang mararating if we're just reactive po dun sa mga bagay. Rather, we proactively approach things. And that would mean, tignan muna natin yung authorities, ano ba yung direction nila. Then we support them instead na batuhin sila kung ano yung pagkukulang nila. So, supportahan po natin. And then, we should take it upon ourselves na meron din po tayong responsibility. Instead of looking at other people, pointing at them, what am I doing? What am I contributing?
Very good statement. Rene, please.
Sa akin po, Bishop, yung role talaga ng pamilya. In fact, meron akong alam na isang eskwelahan na nung nagtanong yung mga nanay, ang sabi, may long quiz lang yung mga anak. Since ang sabi long quiz, hindi masyado nagturo yung mga nanay para i-review yung mga bata. Yun pala, unit test. So, nung nag-unit test na po, Bishop, marami doon sa mga bata, since hindi tumulong yung nanay, na i-review yung mga bata, bumaba ang mga scores. So, sa akin, isang small case po yun, pero it simply shows the role of the parents.
Wow. Society.
Very last po, Bishop. Another thing is motivation. Kaysa parati tayong pinupuwersa ang mga tao, iba din ho yung may makitang motivation eh. Case in point. Ako po, hindi naman maganda performance ko dati. But when I first became an honor student in grade 3, my teacher in grade 1 approached me after the recognition rites and told me, Rene, kapag kasama ka sa top 10 sa grade 6, may reward ka sa akin. But I cannot be in top 10 because I was in section 5. To be top 10 in grade 6, I need to be in section 1. But because the teacher told me, that motivated me to study harder. So in grade 6, from grade 5, section 5, section 4, section 2, section 1, from nobody, I landed number 3. But because somebody motivated me, and it was a teacher.
Alam mo, I fully agree with you. Isa lang ang pwede kong i-share sa inyo na palagi kong natatandaan sa nanay ko. Nanay ko, lola mo. Ano ang sinasabi niya sa akin? Anak, kaya mo yan. I am praying for you. That's my mother. Well, anyway, napakaganda po ng pinag-uusapan natin. Alam mo, gustong-gusto ko itong topic na to. Pero we need to close this segment po ng but we will talk about this more.